Hello, hello, hello.
Dude, look at my face. I'm like taco neck. Why did we do this?
I,
Can we like bring this thing down a
I
little bit
tried
more?
it. When
Holy shit.
we'll make it work.
All right, so I'm close enough to kiss Richie. Happy Monday, everybody.
Hello.
We are coming to you live on Twitch, and we are also going to be with you on SoundCloud tomorrow after we get this audio hooked
Yeah,
up.
we gotta get the audio ripped because we have a guest.
Yes, we have a guest today. Bryan Carey is back. He helped out a few, was it a month ago?
About a month or two, about a month and a half ago.
It was when I was in Vegas?
Yeah.
Right, Bryan?
I think so.
Okay,
You weren't
cool.
available.
Yeah. So we had his expertise on here with Richard, and they probably chummed it up and talked about how awesome they are at Magic. And
We cried over Faithless Looting together.
oh, you guys had a moment.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Rip
Phoenix. Although it's back in Pioneer from the looks of it, so.
Yeah. So today we're going to be going over some spikes, right, Richie? Because of Pioneer.
Yeah.
We're also going to be going over
The Spike Bryan Carey.
the spike Bryan Carey, yes.
Hey,
and,
that's me.
Yeah.
That's you.
Hey, it is me. And we also have a few events coming up that are not going to be limited for those of you
Yeah.
that enjoy going to GPs.
We actually have some Magic Fest we'll get to talk about next week.
Yeah, but first, Richie, tell us about your weekend, bud.
Yeah, so my weekend was pretty chill. I had some friends, hung out with them on Saturday. We did like a early Halloween get-together thing. And then Saturday, I had my niece's birthday party. So went to...
How old is she?
She is 7.
Ah, she's still an idiot.
Yeah. She thinks she's not.
My daughter's 10, and she's got a few more years to go until that brain starts getting a little more active.
But look, if you ask her, she's smarter than you, so...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's way smarter than me.
Mm-hmm. She cooks better than you, though.
Well, she bakes muffins and cakes, and I can't do that shit.
Exactly.
But my icing looks a lot better than hers.
But her unicorns are better.
Yeah, they are. It's true.
So yeah, what about you? You had your first heartbreak this weekend.
You shut your mouth. So,
You're officially a real Magic player.
God. So this weekend, I traveled to... Friday, I kind of chilled out. Russ picked up my stream for me because I just, I kind of needed it. I kind of needed a little break on Friday because I knew I was going to be going into a long weekend. So I have 13 SCG points, right? So I go and I do well in an SCG. And by well, I mean, top 32. And
Humble brag.
So, no, not even. Like, so then I get 10 points, and I'm like, oh, I can get a couple more points. I'm good enough at Magic. That's not how it works all the time.
Nope.
So I go to a tournament in Indiana, and I think, all right, I'm going to go drive out, and then I can go and stay with my sister and my brother and cruise over to Ohio the next day if I don't end up winning this, because I'll probably just take this thing down. So I took 9th at this tournament, and when they went to go read the top 8, they read 8th place, and I was not one of them. And I was like, oh no, I didn't make it. So I got really sad.
The feels bads.
And then I was just like, oh, whatever. I'll just go do some business with the store, and that'll make me feel better. So it did make me feel better. But I did drive back to my family's house, and they were going to a Halloween party. And so I was like, ooh, I'll go to a Halloween party for a couple hours.
You found the thing you were a real winner at.
Yeah, I found the thing that I'm actually good at, right? And it's not playing Magic. So I took myself to Meijer on the way there, and I got myself a 5-pack of men's bikini briefs. And they were extra large, by the way, because I'm full-figured. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud, you can go and check out my size on our Mom's Basement Games YouTube. So I got a 5-pack of XLs, and then I went over to the Halloween section, and I thought, man, what would be the funniest thing I could come up with? And so it was between a waffle, a children's waffle, a adult-sized bottle of mustard, or an adult-sized piece of pizza. And so I said, I'll just get in the bikini briefs. I'll put on the small waffle costume, and I'll just show up with that and a pair of shoes. And so I got to the first place, and I'd say I caught about 3 ladies staring at my junk, and 2 guys. They were meat gazing. So, and then I went to the second house because we went to 2 different parties. I went to the second house, and I caught one girl in particular. She was meat gazing about 5 or 6 times. She just couldn't even look at my face when I talked to her. I was just like, okay, if we're gonna do this, just let it go, girl.
Just eyes up here.
Yeah, I mean, you could just stare at my nuts while I talk to you. It's fine. So they ended up doing a contest for best costume, and I won. Bryan, I won. Can you believe that?
You won! Woo! I
Can't win at Magic, but you can win in the costume contest.
I did. I won.
Who's the real winner here?
Yes, that's right. I won at the contest, and I got to bed. I got to bed by like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had to be up at 7 to drive to Ohio to play in that event, and I felt surprisingly good. I was very responsible. I only had like 5 shots. I wasn't too drunk, and so it was pretty cool. So, but I went on Sunday. I lost to my first round. I lost to a Jund deck that had Obstinate Bailoff in the main and Courser Crewfix in the main.
Look, we're going back to 2013, Josh.
So it was a really tough start for me that day. He also actually
Bailoff?
Obstinate Bailoff.
What the defining factor was, Bryan, and for those of you listening, I don't know if you know what this card is called.
Should I pull it up on screen just in case?
Bother. It's called Tectonic Edge. And so I was on 4 mana, and I needed to have 1 more mana so I could through the breach.
Mm-hmm.
And, he Tectonic Edged one of my sources, and I proceeded to die because of that. No one plays Tectonic Edge for any of you that probably don't even know what I'm talking about. So it was a real rough start to my day. And then I played against John the next round, a real Jund deck, and I smushed his dick hole in. And then I lost a close one to... What was that deck
You said
called?
Infect.
No, not
No,
Infect.
that was the day before.
Walking Ballista. Hardened
Scales.
Game 3, I was on the play, and I went Generator Servant, pass the turn. And I had the pig in my hand, and I had Emrakul in my hand. And turn 3, I'm going off. Turn 2, I pass back. Turn 2, he plays Walking Ballista, shoot your Generator Servant. And I fucking died that game.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah. I could have drawn a Pentide Prism, and then I would have killed him on 4.
But then your board wouldn't have had haste.
Correct, I would have killed him on 4 instead of 3. But, we don't always get everything that we want, so...
Sometimes you can't have sprinkles with your ice cream, Josh.
Well, I didn't even get ice cream this weekend.
Oof. That's how you know you had a bad weekend.
Yeah, so, it was tough going in and trying to get those points. I like not trying to get points. I think that's way funner than, having to get them, to try to make it. But I'm going to go to, we got another event. Yeah, we got another event in a couple weeks here in Frankenmuth, Michigan. So I'm going to try to go get my points then.
And then after that, you got to get yourself 4 Okos.
Yes, and then I'll have to play Standard. And I'll have to get a pig suit so that everybody knows.
I really hope you actually show up in a pig suit if you do qualify for the NBA.
Everybody knows that I'm the boar god.
I wouldn't doubt that you'd actually do it.
Oh, dude, it'd be great.
So, all right.
What about you, Bryan? How was your weekend?
Oh, it was pretty good. I was actually home this weekend as far as Magic-wise goes. I was with Richie at that Halloween shindig that we had together, but otherwise mostly just kind of did adult stuff over the weekend. Got a PTQ upcoming this weekend, though. So
yeah, no, I gotta
just
find a
been
standard
jamming
deck to borrow for that.
Yeah.
I like totally slipped my mind about that event, and I'm like,
Yeah. Well, good. Good, guys. We'll get it. We'll get into the old fun fact here. Every week we usually do a fun fact, right, Richie? Have we missed a week
I
since
don't
we
think
started
so.
doing it?
Not since you came up with this idea, and it's been a really fun idea actually.
Yeah, I like
It's
it.
been cool pulling these out.
I've learned a lot of stuff.
This week we're talking about tribal, and not like goblins, merfolk, but we're talking about the card type tribal. I want to say this is the most recent like card type added into Magic the Gathering.
I'd have to say, yeah.
It definitely has the least cards in it, which is
Yeah.
part of the reason I pulled it up as the fact. There's only 54 tribal cards in Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
Some of them came during Eldrazi. A lot of them are from like the Lorwyn era, though. You know, Bitter Blossoms, a bunch of elementals and
Yeah, because
shapeshifters and goblins.
when they printed Tarmogoyf, they had to put that as one of the texts on there was tribal. So
Well, I think this was after Tarmogoyf. Oh, which actually, mini fun fact for the fun fact. Tarmogoyf referenced tribal before tribal was actually a thing in Magic. And it was kind of like when Oko came out, how everyone was kind of just like, what is food? Like, everyone was like, what's tribal? What's a tribal card? Why does this grow this?
wait, really? There was no tribal yet?
Oh, there
No,
was
it was from Future Sight, so it was.
There
stuff
was
that
one
going
tribal
to
card.
come.
there's
there?
bound. Yeah, there's Bound in Silence. I'm looking at it right now, actually.
Maybe maybe they just printed one because they knew that they had some upcoming that they were printing.
Yeah, well, like I assume they had to have had Lorwyn in development because Lorwyn was the next set.
Yeah. Oh,
Or
yeah.
no, the thing with Tarmogoyf was it referenced Planeswalkers before Planeswalkers were a thing. That's what it was.
Oh, it wasn't.
Yeah, because
It wasn't tribal.
yeah, they printed. Well, tribal wasn't a thing other than that one card.
God, I'm gonna have to start fucking fact checking you.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry this was an on-the-spot fun fact. Like, I had my actual fun fact, and then I thought of a funner fun fact for the fun fact.
So funner.
But yes, it was Planeswalker that had not been printed before Tarmogoyf, because Planeswalkers first came out in Lorwyn.
I would have thought there was more than 54 tribal cards. I guess.
Yeah, they were pretty block exclusive. We've seen a couple with like Eldrazi, but we haven't really seen many printed since then.
No, they don't do a whole lot because I don't know. They do tribal, but I know that's everybody's favorite thing is tribal, right? All the casuals.
Mm-hmm.
There's more casuals in Magic than there are competitors.
Yeah, we are the 1%, oddly
Yeah,
enough.
and so they're always clamming for when are you gonna do this for tribal, like, and so they're always like, well, we're gonna get to it, but we gotta keep developing the game and make sure that we're doing things right. So you don't always see tribal stuff come up.
Yeah.
And if they do, they'll only touch on it. Like when they made a bunch of new slivers lately.
Mm-hmm.
They
I
didn't
thought
make
for
it-
sure we'd get a tribal sliver.
I
card.
know, and they didn't make it powerful enough to make slivers good,
Mm-hmm.
which is insane. We thought like, oh yeah, this is it. This is slivers time. Or with the new goblins they're printing, oh, this is goblins time. Yeah. All right, so
Well,
Richie, let's do what we always do and go to momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com. That's our sponsor, and that's us.
Oh,
And,
we have no all as dusts.
Oh, no all
Strike
one. All right,
What
let's
was
see.
that?
Oh,
Eldrazi conscription.
yeah, check Eldrazi conscription. See if we got that.
How many tribal spells do you think you've cast, Brian?
Tarfire.
Tarfire and Bitter Blossom. I think that's it.
No Eldrazi conscriptions.
Dang.
No.
He said no. No, I'm not casting.
I've
that
cast
card.
this card actually. Favor the Mighty.
Okay.
I played it in Cheerios sideboard, so that way
Nice.
burn decks couldn't bolt my dudes that drew cards.
Let me see if I've cast any of these. I've definitely cast. Well, excuse me. I don't think I've cast Eldrazi conscription.
I have never cast, but I've cascaded into knowledge exploitation a lot in Maelstrom Wander.
Okay. I've cast Lingify. That's a pretty cool one. That's the
Oh,
one that
Not
makes
of
your-
This World. Look that one up.
Oh yeah.
'Cause I feel like I remember getting some of
Not-
those ones.
Go ahead. This is so fucking funny. Being attached to your ear, sharing
Dude,
earbuds
it's
right
really
now.
weird. I feel like we're like on the.
All right,
They
well-
already sold.
Man. All right, so we do have tribal cards in stock usually, but man, I guess we're selling them like crazy.
Yeah, the commander players are getting after it.
Tarfire.
Yeah, do we have any Tarfires? Have you ever cast a Tarfire, Josh?
I actually have not. Maybe in like limited when back
Seems
in the day.
weird that the burn guy hasn't cast Tarfire.
Well, it's tribal though. Like it doesn't really do anything for your burn deck.
Aha, we have Tarfire.
We did it.
Yeah, it pumps your opponent's Tarmogoyf.
Yes, exactly. So we have.
It lets their Tarmogoyf kill you faster.
Does that say 194?
No, that's the number on the card.
Oh, I was gonna say that's a lot of Tarfires.
If we had that many Tarfires, I'd be impressed. Because this card's we have 20. I was gonna say this card's actually hard to find, but apparently I'm wrong.
Good.
All
right, so we searched until we found one tribal card that we knew we had.
Good
in
enough.
Stock.
On to SCG results now.
All right, so we're going to talk about SCG, and there was
Atlanta.
Yes, there was SCG Atlanta this past weekend, and that kind of gave us an idea of where the format was turning to with all this Oko talk. Because as you guys know, if
Oko be loco.
Correct. If you're keeping up with Twitter, if you're keeping up with the Instagram, if you're keeping up with Facebook, there are a lot of people. Like what I woke up to this morning is when I was heading to the bank was a tweet that was retweeted by like 7 different people that said, "Why isn't Oko banned? I hate this card." That was what I woke up to today.
I'll second that notion.
But this is going to be a discussion. I guess we can have a mini discussion before we get into this about our opinions on Oko. Because Brian, I know you have an educated opinion on this card also. And I guess I'll start with my opinion, which is going to be maybe a little less competitive than you guys. But I don't know. I've been playing a lot of Magic lately, so I kind of feel like I can have an educated one. Unlike usual, but so I'm gonna start off. I don't think the card should get banned in Modern ever. I think it probably should be looked at by the most intelligent people at Wizard in getting banned in Standard. So I'm kind of on the fence about it, which I don't usually like being on the fence about stuff. So I guess if I had a gun to my head, I would say ban it in Standard, because I think it's going to cause a lot of warping and a lot of problems. But I think it's a very fine card for Modern, and a very fine and excellent card for Legacy. This card is super cool in Legacy. It helps against a lot of those decks that just play Chalice on one. It allows you to get out of those locks. It allows you to steal a Batterskull. It allows you to just do some really cool things. It allows you to get some life gain going against the burn deck. Though I've played against it a few times, and if it resolves and gets online, I die if I don't kill them by then. But most of the time I just outrace it, and it's a card that if they have it in on the draw, they're probably going to lose just by casting it, right? Because it takes them a turn to do anything with it, and I'm going to kill them at that next turn.
Yeah, I feel pretty much the same way. Standard, I think this card needs to go. Although I'm worried that Wizards won't do much about it because of it being, the headliner of Eldraine. Pioneer, we need to get more looks on that format.
I didn't even say anything about Pioneer.
You haven't even played the format yet. I have
not.
We're going to talk more about Pioneer next week, but I think there's a chance that it's too good for Pioneer. Modern and Legacy, though, and even Vintage, I think the card is going to be very strong, and I think it's definitely going to probably be a staple moving forward, but I think the card overall is fine. I'll mention it here briefly before we get into it when we're talking about results. The reason why the Simic Urza deck put 4 copies in the top 8, sure, Oko's what really pushed this deck over the top, but the problem with this deck isn't Oko. The problem is Urza. And in Eternal formats, this is the first time I can actually say I think Teamer is in a solid spot in Modern because of Oko, and I think that's good.
Yeah, it gives decks reach, and so that's very cool.
So I think Oko is fine. I think it's fine for Eternal formats anyways, besides for maybe Pioneer. But I think it definitely needs to be looked at in Standard, possibly Pioneer, and I hope Wizards will do something, but I can't guarantee anything about that.
All right, Brian, your turn, buddy. Let us know.
Yeah, I think it absolutely 100% needs to go in Standard.
Okay.
I don't think there's any question. I've seen reports talking about how the green decks are at Caw-Blade levels right now, which is saying a lot because that was like one of the most dominant standard standard decks we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because like the MCQ that happened this past week on the Arena MCQ, day 2 metagame was, I think it was like 64% Oko decks or something like that. It was over like about 2/3. I think that is absurd that like this many decks in this kind of a level, like over 50% of decks playing this one card is just
warping.
not
Definitely warping.
It's the format basically.
The fact that Noxious Grasp is easily a main deckable card in this format is
it's the best removal spell.
Is really a ridiculous.
Well, for those of
so
those people out there that don't know what Noxious Grasp is, which I am one of those people, please tell us, Brian, what Noxious Grasp is.
1 black and 1 instant, destroy target green or white creature or planeswalker, and you gain a life. So it is super narrow for only 2 colors, and it is a 4 of in main deck of like the top deck right now because it kills Okos in the mirror.
They talked about the result at the recent MC that was Arena, and they said 100% of decks that were registered at that event had green or red in them.
Yeah.
All right, Brian. So tell us what you think about Oko for Eternal formats like Modern or Legacy. Have you had a chance to play against that card in Modern or Legacy yet?
I've played against it in Modern. I recently top 8'd, not this past one that just happened in Atlanta, but the one happened previously in Indianapolis.
Yeah, you did.
Play. Yeah, I did. I did play against it there, but I was on burn, so obviously it's really good against me. So as far as the format goes, I'm not sure about it in Modern. It's probably fine. I can't imagine that this is the things that we ban in one of the things we ban in Modern. Like I think out of the where's the decks, I think Opal's the card to go, not Oko. And then for Pioneer, I haven't really looked at it at all because all my events coming up are standard, but I could see it being too good for there. I know that we're getting like some sort of ban update before like the first Pro Tour next year, which is the Pioneer. As far as Legacy goes, it seems sweet. Like being able to like deal with different problematic permanents and the fact that like things like Force Will and stuff already exist to help balance everything out. I think that this is just another card that lets you do that, and it's probably definitely fine for Legacy. Probably too good for Pioneer, I imagine it will end up being.
It might be.
Yeah. For Modern, I think it's fine now. I could see it end up being a problem, but I don't think it will end up. I would be very surprised to see it banned.
Yeah. All right, good. So I think we're all basically on the same page here that we think it's very problematic in Standard. We think it is pretty solid in Modern, and we think it's very fun in Legacy. And then Pioneer, we need more data. So.
Yeah.
All right, Richie, take us in.
Event.
Yeah, exactly. There's only been one event.
Before we get into this, I just want to point something out that I noticed. Thought I'd bring it up to you.
Yeah.
There is an IQ this weekend in Ohio.
Oh, look out.
At Frogtown.
If Daddy wasn't going to be at Eternal Weekend, I'd be grinding those points out.
But yeah, so Grixis Death Shadow actually took the event down, which I'm not surprised to see, especially like once you break down and see how much Wurza was in like this top 8. I literally don't think Grixis Shadow had a bad matchup. Maybe Amulet Titan can be a little rough, but it's always pretty solid against the like artifact combo decks because it has good disruption in cards like Stubborn Denial, Thoughtseize, Inquisition, while backing up powerful and fast threats like Grimag Angler or Death Shadow. And you know, they can't turn your Death Shadow into an Elk if you Stubborn Denial it, so.
Look at that one of Fun of. They played a one of Royal Scions in the main board.
This has actually been... A lot of lists have been replacing Temur Battle Rage with this card, which I'm not sure if it's correct or not, but this has been seeing more and more play in this deck, and from what I've heard, it's been pretty solid because the deck is already naturally grindy and wants cards in its graveyard for things like Gurmag Angler.
Yeah, and I know this deck used to also in the past would play what's the 2-for-1? Discard a card, blow up an artifact, or do 2 damage.
Kolagon's Command.
Yeah,
Colgan's Command.
He's
yeah.
got 2 on the board.
Yeah, so I know that was in the main, but maybe this is that one flex spot where they're just like, oh, we can throw something cool in there. That's very good. Hover over Royal Scions. I wanna. So this card, this is an Eldraine Mythic Planeswalker. It's the Will and Rowan one for those of you that know. Oh God, what is it? Those
Battle
Will and-
Bond.
Yeah, Battle Bond characters. So it's +1 for a red, blue, and a colorless. Its +1 is draw a card, discard a card, so it's loot. You can also +1. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. So this is really fucking good for your fat bodies like Death Shadow and Gurmag.
Yeah, that's why you've been seeing it over Temur Battle Rage in some lists.
Yeah, Battle Rage does give a little bit more reach than this card.
It's also not as telegraphed.
Well, I don't know if it does give more reach because it has the ability to loot. So I think maybe they're
TBR gives more reach. This also adds some more consistency to the deck, though.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think overall reach, I think the Royal Scions is just a better card, but it does different things, right? And then its ultimate is -8, so it starts off at 5. So you only need 3 turns to get its ultimate. But with this deck, I don't see you going that many turns with this thing on board.
No, you probably won't.
The ultimate is draw 4 cards. When you do, Royal Scion deals damage to any target equal to the number of cards in your hand. So that's really cute. I like that. So this is a pretty cool addition. I like to see new cards in decks, but I like to see new decks playing new cards that are doing well. That's what matters.
Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on this deck, Brian?
I think Shadow is good. I'm not 100% sure in the Royal Scions. It seems kind of sweet as a grindy element that also helps to burst your opponent down.
Yeah.
But I think it tends to be a lot just a metagame dependent deck. And I think it's really good at exploiting decks that are when things are trying to be combo-y, because then you're able to just have a fast clock while disrupting them just enough with Thoughtseize and
Inquisition.
Stubborn Denial, those kinds of easy effects where you're able to just need to stop one major thing from happening, right?
Yeah.
But when things get a little bit more grindy, or when Faithless Looting was around, I think it had a bad dredge matchup and stuff.
Yeah,
so
it had
I think a lot of it
with graveyard decks.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it just mostly is meta dependent for the deck, as to when it's good or not. But I think when it is good, it's one of the best decks in it.
I totally
a
agree.
good margin.
So we hinted at it when we were talking about Oko for a little bit, but the deck of the tournament really was the Simic Wurza deck, which came from the Lotus Box team. They put 4 people on this deck into the top 8, and I'm just going to go ahead and go over their list, since this is kind of a new take on kind of 2 archetypes that have existed more recently, the Wurza deck and the Paradoxical Outcome deck.
Yeah, so what they did was they took these 2 decks and they docked them into each other, correct? It's kind of like penis docking.
Sure.
It's great. They took a really sweet good deck and a not so good deck.
Yeah, they were both pretty solid.
Think so?
Yeah, so here's the deck list. You got 4 Gilded Goose, that card from Standard, Food Birds of Paradise, 4 Emery Lurker of the Lock, 4 Urza Lord High Artificer, and then 4 Oko Thief of Crowns in the main, 19 lands in a snow-covered forest, 4 islands, a breeding pool, 2 Flooded Strand, 4 Misty Rainforest, 2 Mystic Sanctuary, which is actually the card that Sam Black told me is the most broken card in Modern, besides for perhaps Mox Opal. So
you talked to Sam Black?
Yeah.
I didn't know he talked to people.
Yeah, when you're facing him.
Oh, okay.
He's not horrible.
No.
But, so yeah, if you can have the 2 most broken cards in Modern in your deck, how bad can it be, right?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, being able to chain Cryptic Command.
Yeah, and that's actually something really interesting with this deck, is that they, took the Cryptic Loop, which is if you have 2 cryptic commands and a Mystic Sanctuary, you can lock your opponent out by
You just bounce
tapping
the
their team,
Sanctuary.
bouncing the Sanctuary, replaying it.
Yep. Yeah, so you can just bounce and tap the dudes down, and it's a very bad time.
So then you got 2 Polluted Delta, 2 Scalding Tarn, and a Watery Grave to round out the lands. Spell-wise, you have an Aether Spell Bomb, a card draw of Emery, also just like a pseudo-removal spell. 3 Engineered Explosives, good for turning on an early Emery or just being good removal. 4 Mishra's Baubles, 1 Sword of the Meek and 1 Thopter Foundry as the combo in the deck. You know, the thing that really wins you a lot of games is when you can get this online. The 2 War of Inventions really help with the consistency, as well as just Urza himself. 3 Cryptic Commands, as we were talking about, to combo with those Mystic Sanctuaries. 2 Metallic Rebuke, which is a really cool addition in my opinion, as just like essentially a 1 mana leak in a lot of times in this deck, because you're gonna have 2 artifacts in play that don't do anything, so you can feel free to tap like your Thopter Foundry or maybe your Construct off Urza, a Spell Bomb, things like that. Your 4 Mox Opal, which you're not going to play an artifact deck without 4 Mox Opals. And then 4 Arkham's Astrolabe as just solid mana fixing and really cheap card draw.
I'm pretty sure this whole deck's gonna have to get a ban. I mean, like before when we were going over this, I mean, if you roll the tapes back about 2 months ago when this deck came out, I'm like, look out. We both said it. We're like, look out. This is the sneaker. This is the best deck.
Yeah.
And then after like a month went by, we're like, okay, this deck's actually starting to show some potential. Siggy Stardust says, howdy Stardust, how's it going?
Hey, what up?
And now that I look at this deck, I'm just like, Jesus, this thing needs a ban. I mean, what are you thinking on this one, Brian? Talk to us about this deck, because this deck's fucking absurd, man.
Yeah, this deck is really solid. I think that they definitely had a very good build for it. They obviously put a lot of work into it and come up with a lot of different like individual numbers for the deck to know what they like. They had to do some digging to find Metallic Rebuke, but I actually think it was a good call.
Yeah, Zan's a genius when it comes to deck building.
Yeah, I also think Gilded Goose is to this deck kind of what I've always. It's very similar, but in the way that Thraben Inspector was for Mardu vehicles and Standard, where it's just like in like Thraben Inspector was able to crew like your Looter Scooter, right? But then also made an artifact that was able to like trigger for like unlicensed integration and everything, right? So Goose kind of does that with this deck, where it makes like the artifact, which lets you use that for Metallic Rebuke and for your Whirs, but then it also lets you ramp into like your Urza, which is really important in Modern and everything.
Yeah.
So I think that it's just like really well built. I think some version of Urza, probably along the lines of this build, is probably just the best deck in Modern, and I think Opal's finally going to get axed.
Well, okay,
I think it'll be Opal, but
yeah. So now, what if we don't get rid of Opal? What if we just get rid of Urza, right? What if Urza's the actual mistake here, Brian? I mean, can we maybe go down that road? Can we talk about that for a second?
I think that absolutely is a road you can go down. I just think it'll end up being kind of similar to the Faithless Looting arguments, where like you just continuously ban graveyard cards while just ignoring the fact that Faithless Looting is the one that allows all of them to exist. I think it'll be a similar thing with Mox Opal, where if you don't ban Opal this time, they'll randomly print eventually down the line another broken artifact card that will just Opal will just allow it to continuously just develop that way.
Okay. Do you think we potentially just see like, because I guess my biggest problem is I'm not sure, like, obviously a Mox Opal ban hurts this deck, but I'm not sure if it hurts it enough. Do you think there's a chance we just see, like, will it be like a Birds from Below incident where they ban Mox Opal and they're like, wait, Urza was the real problem? Or do you think it'll be more of a Faithless Looting thing where, you know, they chop both heads off the Hydra to make sure it's finally gone?
They might end up needing whichever one they ban, because I assume one of them's getting banned. They might end up having to ban the other. I just usually think that if you're better off banning the enabler rather than the payoff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so what about the other Mox that's going around, the legendary, the shitter Mox?
Mox
right?
Amber.
Mox Amber. Now, let's say we do get rid of Mox Opal, right? And it's like, okay, yay, we finally got rid of it. It was oppressive. And then don't you just slot in Mox Amber here?
It can like you certainly could to an extent, but the consistency on it is way less.
Yeah.
So
I think your deck
that
probably
one's a
has
lot
to
more
get rebuilt
fine.
a little differently too.
Yeah.
Like the Urza outcome decks we were seeing were really good with that card because you had Emery, you had Sai, you had Saheeli, you had Urza himself. So you really have to put you have to put a decent amount of legendaries into your deck. And I'm not 100% sure 12 copies is enough.
Yeah, I think the other decks have like something like 14.
Yeah, like
Could be
14 to
wrong.
15.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, before we head off I want to read the sideboard off really quick for everyone
You
at
got
home. We got 3 Damping Sphere, an Engineered Explosives, an Ensnaring Bridge, a Grafdigger's Cage, a Nile Spellbomb, a Pithing Needle, a Trophy, 2 Drown in the Lock, which this card is super strong, I think.
Very strong.
3 Fatal Push, and 2 Thoughtseize. So just a lot of the cards we see in main/sideboard of a lot of the different Urza, Emery / Mox Opal decks. Was 14 to 16 on a math article for Mox Amber.
Okay.
Is what Siggy was saying.
So Ziggy's telling us that there is 14 to 16 legendary permanents, correct, that you're going to need to have to make the math probably pretty close to use Mox Amber. So I guess they would have to change things around, but it still would be possible because at that point there's 12 in that build.
Mm-hmm.
So
probably throw a couple sides or something.
Yeah, I just feel like getting rid of Mox Opal might not be the exact answer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because
it might need both. I could see that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the answer 100%. All right, Richie, take us through the rest of this top 8.
Yeah, so Amulet put a top 8 in to probably nobody's surprise.
Austin Collins with Amulet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I played against him at the Open.
Collins is a super cool guy.
Yeah.
I've talked to him at a few different events, and he's played Amulet before, to my knowledge, but he probably just he didn't play it in Indy probably because he wanted to get some more reps with it, would be my guess.
Okay.
I think he said in the top 8 profile that he couldn't borrow any other deck, so this is the one he played.
Nice.
Sick.
I like it. And then we had a Devoted Devastation deck top 8, also with 3 Once Upon a Times instead of playing like any extra
like chords and stuff.
Or like they were playing the Stoneforge package for a little bit in this deck.
Yeah, it's just not good enough.
They have an Oko in the deck because why not? You're blue and green.
Yeah.
So
everybody's trying it. They're splashing it.
Yeah.
Brian, are you thinking about with your new burn list that you're talking about? Are you thinking about splashing for Oko or what?
I mean, it's Broco, man.
Oko be Broco.
Look, man, you just play 4 Gilded Goose, 4 Oko, and you'll be fine, right?
Yeah, because then you got artifacts.
Yeah.
Sick.
And then the other deck I really wanted to talk about from this was this Crabvine deck that people have been playing. It's basically what's left from when Hogak was a deck. I think this deck's really sweet. I think there's definitely something here. It's something I need to try on stream at some point because, man, if the card Vengevine's playable, I need to know.
Listen,
about
it. we need you to set tickets on fire, okay? At least every other week, and we need you to play some Vengevine.
Hell yeah.
If you're gonna set them on fire, you set them on fire in style, and this would be it.
Dude,
because this deck looks awful to me.
Oh no, dude, this deck looks like a masterpiece.
This
me.
is litty titty for you, huh?
Heck yeah.
Okay.
How do you feel about this deck, Brian?
I think there's something. I don't know. I've always thought that Faithless Living was too key to these.
Brian, tell the truth. Tell him it's a pile of shit.
Look.
No, I don't think it's a pile of shit, but I also don't know if it's really like upper echelon for Modern.
That's fair. We'll find out. I'll do some research.
We'll find out. Right?
I'll get some research going in. Don't you worry.
I'll find out when we're missing 11 tickets.
Look, man,
from the account.
It's no different than you or Aaron playing on a weekly basis. So.
Fuck you, guy.
But yeah, so the next thing we have is the Modern challenge. And, well, would you look at what took first in the modern classic?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna take a little dig at you real quick, so don't get upset. You played this.
Yeah, I beat this guy at the Open where I top 8'd.
Was he playing Delver?
Top 8. No, he was playing Shadow. I actually had an on-camera feature match.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How was he as an opponent?
It's cool.
Cool. So Richie, you played this deck a few weeks ago.
This is a different build to like just asterisk that.
Oh.
Like I'm in to try this deck again. If Delver of Secrets is playable in Modern, goddammit, I'm gonna play Delver.
Listen, and I'm just gonna quote you here, Richie, when you said this deck sucks dick, and it took first place in the Classic.
Well, no. I did not say this deck sucks dick. I can pull up the Ross Miriam list because that was the deck that did not feel good to me.
2 S's.
I'm just gonna go to SCG and find his article. It works the same way.
Okay.
Wait, you don't have premium. Damn it.
Why would I have premium? This is all... premium is just... Brian, I think you'd be on board with this. SCG premium...
Brian has SCG premium.
I know.
I do have premium.
Okay. But...
So I think he's on my side on this.
I don't know. But it's propaganda. It is fucking propaganda, isn't it? Tell me I'm not wrong.
I don't know what you mean by propaganda for it.
Okay, so let me take you back to 1947, right?
I get what propaganda is.
Oh, okay, good.
Like,
So each week they're gonna tell you, hey guys, this is the sickest deck right now in Modern, and this is the deck I'm gonna be playing. Or if I were going to the tournament, I'm gonna play this deck. And that person that writes that article doesn't even have intentions of playing that deck, nor do they think that deck's good. They're just writing for content. So that's why I mean it's the SCG propaganda machine.
I would not agree with that.
Okay, tell me what you think about premium. I want to hear it.
Well, I think that premium is just their way of being able to pay their writers. I mean, it is a paywall, but it is just a way for them to be able to generate, revenue. But I think that most of the time, people really do try to write honestly whenever it comes to articles and whatnot. They might not actually end up playing the deck and whatnot.
Yeah, and the article I was trying to pull up, Ross literally talked about like how the past 2 tournaments his deck, like decisions have been dog shit.
Okay.
Yeah, and plus you might have an article come out on Wednesday and then get new Friday, so you make it the new information that comes around. Magic moves extremely fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't mind paying for content, especially when it comes from a lot of creators on this site in particular that I really respect what they have to say, such as Jerry Thompson and Brad Nelson.
Yeah,
I think most of the time, a lot of the information that they give is valuable, and I don't mind paying for it.
All right, so give me a percentage on propaganda then. Is it 10%?
Propaganda would be do you just mean a clickbait versus rather than propaganda? Yes, obviously everything is clickbait, but that's gonna be whether or not there's a paywall or not.
Okay, I gotcha.
Gavin wants to know who's gonna win Worlds now that TL's a dumpster fire, Brian.
SKT. SKT's gonna win.
Well, first of all,
G2.
First of all, guys, you need to slow
Let's go
down.
Europeans.
I'm 36. What's TL stand for?
Team Liquid.
Okay. And what are we talking about?
League of Legends.
Okay, good. Moving on.
All right. But yeah, so I'm hyped to try this deck. Hopefully this list will feel better. I like the Deprive Mystic Sanctuary combo of, picking up your counter spell and putting it back on top.
I have a question.
This deck has 4 Force of Negation in the main, which I think is very good.
Okay. I think you're correct. I think 4 Force of Negation is excellent. Why is everybody playing 2 Magmatic Sinkholes? Why isn't it 1? Why is there 2 in each list? Do you really have the ability to delve that much?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like 2 Murderous cuts. Back in the day. I just feel like the
you have
number
more
was always
power
1.
to fuel it because of it's a lot different than in standard because we have powerful 1-mana cantrips and opt-in Serum Visions.
Okay.
And you also have more cheap spells, so you also have more fetch lands that you can actually play.
Sure.
This deck's on 8 fetches that are on color for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think it just you can just support 2 delve spells. Like I know back in the day of Phoenix, you were able to play like 2 Set Adrifts typically, and I think it's like pretty much in the same sense.
I gotcha. All right, so
Well, yeah, in Phoenix too, you also like usually only played one, but you also used your graveyard more. In this deck, once your stuff goes to grave, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, the only thing's really
Whereas
like Snapcaster.
before you didn't want to delve your Faithless Lootings or your Phoenixes or whatever, right? But now in this deck, there's once something's good grave, it's better off just being in exile.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what won it. Pretty exciting.
Okay.
2 more Simic Wurza decks in second and third.
Okay.
Go ahead. What were you about to say?
No, go ahead and finish out the top 8.
Grixis Shadow took fourth, so kind of seeing a run around of what we did in the top 8 of the Open there. Fifth place was this Jund Goblins deck, which the reason why they're splashing green now is for Grimgally. This one was also playing Once Upon a Time, which, if you can, why not?
So you got to explain Grimgally because people don't know what this is because I didn't know what it was.
Well,
Explain the
so
combo.
Grimgally is a red, a green, and a colorless for a 3/3. That each other non-human creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it.
So each goblin.
Well, sure, in this deck, but
in this deck.
he doesn't just trigger goblins.
Yep.
So basically, this is like your Malira, your Anafenzo, or your what's the one in Devoted Druid? Vizier of Remedies.
Oh yeah, Vizier combo.
To where he basically stops persist from happening. So you have Putrid Goblin or Murderous Redcap for infinite persist, which with a sack outlet like Slinglane Commander is infinite damage, infinite drain to your opponent, or infinite red mana with Skirk Prospector, or if you just have the Murderous Redcap, it's infinite damage to your opponent.
Mm-hmm. I think so. This is going to be something that I'll continue to talk about so that people will. I don't know. I think everybody needs to hear it. If you are playing in Modern and you Brian, you're not going to agree with this 100%, but if you want to be highly competitive for the most part, you're going to need some type of combo in your deck, right?
I will also disagree.
Yes. So right now, I think combo is taking over Modern itself. Would you agree with that?
I think combo is always very powerful, but
I think in Modern, for your deck to be competitive, you need to be able to, on your best draws, have a turn 3 kill and be able to consistently kill by turn 4. Whether or not that necessarily is like Burn, like I played, can kill on turn 3, but it's not necessarily a combo deck, but you just can kind of combine your spells to make them dead, right?
Yeah, so you're going to be on the deck that's an exception, right?
some will argue Lightning Bolt into your opponent's face is a combo.
Yes, but I do generally think that your nut draws need to not like just playing fair.
Okay, so this is what I guess this is what I try to preach every week when we're going over results is that most decks are finding themselves like Goblins is a great example of this. This thing did not have a combo in it before, when they first came out with the new Goblin cards.
Well, it's because the combo wasn't printed then.
Correct. But, you did have a Skirk Prospector combo, right?
No, Grimgally literally came out in the new set.
Okay. So, I guess this isn't a perfect example. What's the example for the deck that wasn't a combo that had a combo put into it? I think we just went over it. God damn it.
You got me.
Anyways, so even like Primeval Titan, would you consider that, Brian? Would you consider that a combo deck?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's doing something similar to Burn, where it's just trying to kill you on 3 or 4, but it's not an actual combo deck. So it's very similar to Burn, and I think you need to be playing those consistent decks that are going to kill on 3 or 4 in order to be competitive in Modern right now.
Yeah, and I'll agree. I've always been a fan of the kill 'em dead decks in Modern, even when I'm playing Tron. Like the game doesn't actually end on turn 3 or 4, but the game virtually ends on those turns most of the time.
That's a great deck. We didn't have it. We didn't have a combo for Tron until Karn was printed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good one. So it's like everybody has a combo now.
Yeah, but like Karn isn't even a guarantee for Tron. It's just like a meta call thing.
Yeah.
But that's actually like the really interesting thing with Tron right now is like there's so many meta call cards you can play in Tron between like Karn, Once Upon a Time, Relic, Dismember, Thragtusk.
Which member?
Dismember right here.
Oh, yes.
But so going back to the top 8, we did have a Tron deck top 8 here. We had. How are you gonna eat on stream while we're doing a fucking podcast? God.
It's a cream fucking filled donut, Richard. Give me a break.
This is a podcast. This isn't a Wendy's.
Brian, can I eat right now? Can I eat a donut?
Oh, please do.
Thank you.
God damn it, Brian.
Richie, fucking Hitler, killing me.
But so we have Amulet Titan in 7th and Wurza again in 8th. Jund got 9th. The deck close to Brian's heart, which we'll get to Brian's success in Magic in a minute, but I know you played a lot of Jund back in the day.
Yeah.
Whether that was for better or worse back then.
It was for the better back then. It had a good twin matchup.
Now you've learned. You just need to.
I've learned.
You need to kill him.
Dude, the Burn Jund matchup is still really rough, so don't even tell me you're just gonna kill him because that deck is still Jund is good, right, Brian?
My friend Gavin isn't playing Jund. So.
Okay, give us your top 20 decks. Or no, let's say top 15 decks. I don't want you to list them, but would Jund be in your top 15 decks for competitiveness in Modern?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Sig is ripping on you. He said first pizza, then a donut.
You know what, Ziggy? Get off my fucking back, man.
All right, with that, we're gonna move on to standard though. Where wow, look, 4 Sultai food decks in the top 8. Fuck this card for lack of a better term.
And by this card,
Oko.
Oko?
Fuck Oko.
It's Loco, man.
But yeah, so this is kind of the new build we've been seeing really take over. They're splashing black for a couple of Vraskas, little bit of card advantage, a little extra removal, and then 4 of the very diverse, easy, good in every matchup, Noxious Grasp.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever played with. I actually tried Sultai food towards the beginning of this format for Vraska and trying out a trophy over Noxious Grasp. But have you guys ever had an Oko and a Vraska out at the same time?
No.
It's really gross because her plus is just sacrificing another permanent.
Yeah,
so you just make a food and turn it into a card. Yeah, it's like a free clue.
That's not.
And
fair.
it's really gross.
And it gains you 1 of that 3 life that food would have gained you.
Yeah, that's if you're not already using the food for Gilded Goose or Wicked Wolf. It's Vraska's just actually really good with Oko.
Yeah. So this deck's very strong, probably the best deck in standard. Really, really hope Wizards eventually bans Oko, but.
All right, so what else made the top 8, Richie, other than Sultai food?
Yeah, so there were 2 copies of this Jeskai Fires deck, which is essentially a Fires of Invention deck, which Fires of Invention is a red and 3 colorless enchantment, which you can cast spells only during your turn, and you can only play up to 2 spells each turn. But you can cast spells with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of lands you control without paying their mana costs. So you use things like the Cavaliers, which have really good ETBs. Like this one lets you look at the top 2 cards and put them back in or draw 3 cards and then put 2 back. So Brainstorm.
Okay.
Cavalier Flame is a 6/5 that for 2 red and a colorless you can give your board +1/+0 haste.
Okay.
And when he also enters the battlefield, you discard any number of cards and then draw that many cards. And when he dies, he does X damage equal to the number of land cards in your graveyard. And then you also get to use Fave, which is very strong, to basically tutor up any of the non-creatures in your sideboard. Even like Casualties of War, which you can't cast. You can cast through Fires of Invention, so...
That's neat.
Basically, this is like the... trying to go over the top of the over-the-top decks in this format.
Yeah.
Drawn from Dreams is basically Dig Through Time in this deck. So, okay. Yeah, this is what Control is really like having to look like in the format right now.
Go big or go home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we've got Just Sky Fires, we got Soul Food, and we've got Rakdos.
There's a Rakdos aggro deck, which was... This is pretty much your traditional, like, Rakdos aggro deck. There's not many, like...
Nice one.
It's just trying to get them dead, you know?
This is just Rakdos aggro.
This deck has 35 elks in it, so, you know...
It does, for creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
I'm sure this deck is fine, but I could not see playing this deck in an elk format.
Probably not.
I'm really surprised that they're not running Embercleave at all. I mean,
that's actually the thing I've been testing, that like Mardu Knights deck that came out of the MC, and I've been liking it a decent amount. So I was pretty surprised not to see Ember Cleaver, because Ember Cleaving and Rotting Regisaur kills pretty fast. Just 14 them real quick.
Really, really fast.
Cool.
It's actually
and
16, right? Because it gets to +1/+1.
Oh yeah, it is +1/+1. I thought it was an 8 for some reason, but I couldn't remember where. And also, if you Ember Cleaver your elk, it kills Oko.
Okay. I mean, you guys are definitely speaking Spanish right now, because you're talking about standard cards, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so the last deck that got into top 8 is 4-color Wolves. This is just a different Oko flavor.
Cool.
You know, sometimes instead of sprinkles on your ice cream, you want cherries. So
nice.
This person brought cherries, but unfortunately got beat by the sprinkles, because, let's be honest, sprinkles are better than cherries.
All right, so I have a very good idea for next week.
Mm-hmm.
I know you got to drive home after the podcast, but I'm going to do some boozing next week, and every time we say Oko, I'm going to take a drink of alcohol. This is just going to be like the Hogak thing.
I can't confirm, like, I can't allow you to do that, because I can't have my boss die. Unless you, like, say I can take over the company, then I might.
It'll just be beer. It won't be liquor or anything. But each time, so if you guys want to stop by next week, and you're at home, you know, in the safety of your own home, you want to have about 100 drinks of beer with me, we'll probably be doing that next week, talking about Oko, so feel free.
Yeah, and so the one other deck I like want to talk about for a minute is Zach Allen's 4-color Fires deck. This is basically like the Jeskai deck, except a little more Super Friends heavy, and a little bit more earlier interaction. And I want to message Zach. I'm going to message him after the podcast, because I want to get his opinion on this deck, because this deck looks sweet to me.
Okay, so it's basically just 4-color Super Friends.
Yeah. What do you think of this deck, Brian?
I think he's a teammate of mine. I think he's a crazy person. But he's really good at deck building, and this deck looks really interesting. I'm not sure how good this is compared to the other Fires deck, but adding the black to it gives you a lot of different avenues of ways to attack the Oko decks. So I know that he likes sometimes of different builds of popular decks. Like there was the one team event earlier this year where he played Standard, and he was on the Sultai Golos deck, not the Bant Golos deck, for example.
And like he had a top 8 with Esper control. When I think a lot of people were on blue-white at that time.
Yeah, he tends to, I've noticed, add black to try to go over the top of the other, like the pseudo mirrors, basically.
Yeah.
This is probably him attempting to do something similar.
And it was actually funny, because like when I was looking at these results earlier, I was thinking to myself, like, man, because I'm trying to get prepared for the Invitational, I was like, if everybody's main decking Noxious Grasp, is there a playable Grixis deck in this format? And I was like, probably not. And then I seen this, and I'm like, maybe I'll register some Nico Bolas's.
Nico Bolas seems really, really
Nico
fun.
Bolas is sweet. And he's an Oko when your opponent has an Oko.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an elk.
He's not an elk.
He's not an elk, but
only artifacts or creatures are elks. Bolas is too badass to be an elk.
Yeah, Bolas is sweet.
So yeah, the other decks in the top 8, we just see like a little bit more Jeskai Fires. We see this Golgari Henge deck, which I'm pretty skeptical on. I can't see myself registering the Great Henge in an Oko format. Just seems like a lot of work for an elk.
Okay.
Kind of the same problem the Rakdos deck has, in my opinion. Then we see a couple more Oko and a couple more Fire decks to round out the top 16.
So that looks like standard. So again, guys, if you're going to play some standard, do yourself a favor, buy 4 copies of Oko.
Gavin says in chat that Alan said the deck was not good into the green. So, probably not a good choice.
Okay.
Alan probably got 9th off the fact that he is Zach Allen.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
he's just kind of out muscles his opponents. He's just really good at this game. He had 3 SCG Open top 8s in a row.
Which,
like,
that
leading
was
up to
going to
this
be my
event.
fun fact for the week.
Okay.
Alan was tied for the most consecutive SCG Open top 8s in a row.
Oh, okay. With who?
There's a few others,
Yeah,
I believe.
there's a couple that he's tied with.
Okay.
But if he would have top 8'd this Open, he would have had the most consecutive Open top 8s.
Oh, very cool. All right, so we're going to move on, guys. And we're going to let you know that there are some events coming up here. There's Magic Fest for the 2019 schedule. Again, like I said earlier at the podcast, there won't be limited. That's slowed down.
We can
You
actually
won't
talk about
see-
Magic Fest.
Yeah, you won't see that until next year. And most of those, not most of them, but several of them are going to be replaced by Pioneer because limited is, though it's for those limited players out there, they love their limited, but it is not the most, I guess, profitable format, I would say, for Wizards.
It's pretty profitable for Wizards. It just doesn't. It's not great for like us players because it's very hard to like look at results from a limited format and like take and adapt that our own.
So we have Lyon coming up. That's going to be standard this weekend. Also Nagoya, which is going to be standard. And then something that is going to be stateside for you guys the following week is going to be Richmond, and that will be standard. So, and then in November...
That's at the same time as the Pro Tour. The Pro Tour is
Yeah.
in Richmond, and there's a Grand Prix at the same time.
Okay. And then for those of you that are in the Midwest with us, we will, I believe all of us will be at GP Columbus. Brian, you going to be there?
Yeah, I'll
On the
be there.
22nd? Cool.
I won't. I still don't like Magic Fest.
Okay. Yeah, well, so myself and Brian will be there, so we will do our best to kill you dead, but if you guys kill us, then we're all right with that.
Yeah. So, all right, let's hop into our main topic here, which is actually gonna be Brian.
Hey.
So yeah, what I pulled up here is I just pulled up a quick MTG Goldfish results history of, Brian's major events because a couple weeks ago you had, I would say your biggest accomplishment, correct?
I would say the second. I think that making the Pro...
You think making the PT is still higher than top 8 in Open?
Yeah, I would say so. That was at least for my goal.
Okay.
Time was just trying to finally get to the Pro Tour. So I felt good about both. Obviously, if I could only pick one, I would pick the Pro Tour.
Okay. Yeah. So your first result was actually back in 2015, and it was with Jund. Actually, funny enough, like we were saying, Brian used to be a real big Jund player.
Yeah, I
And
played a lot of Jund.
it's really interesting to kind of see the growth of how, we mentioned the growth of this result was still kind of back when you were playing Magic competitively, but you weren't grinding super hard. You weren't going out every weekend you can.
No, at that point I was mostly just doing any maybe Star Cities that were in Ohio, since we're located in Michigan, and then PPTQs that happened to be close, and I happened to win a PPTQ to make that RPTQ, and that getting that close to the Pro Tour is really what got lit the fire. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because 2016 is really when you said you started to take off as a grinder for the most part, and that's when you really started attending more and more events as it went on.
Yeah, it doesn't show it here, but shortly after that RPTQ, there was Grand Prix Pittsburgh, which I played Jund again, and going 12-3, I owned 50th.
Yeah,
so it didn't get posted, but that was the last Splinter Twin. Splinter Twin won.
that was the last Splinter Twin event, if I remember, because that was the Jeskai Twin event.
Yeah, that was the Jeskai Twin that won that one.
Yeah.
So that those two back-to-back really close, one win away from the Pro Tour wins with Jund really kind of
It's what really set the fire.
Yeah. Yep.
And then like you said, you really started, going hard in 2016. As that's when we start to see, the top eights and the results really start coming in. You had
Yep.
another Jun, but you actually surprisingly have a decent split between modern and standard. Even though most people really, I think, know you for your, modern play.
Yeah, I have had overall, I think, a better win rate in modern than in standard. I could be wrong with that,
Hmm.
but I've had kind of split results between them. Yeah.
Yeah, we see. I talked about you. You were saying you were destroying this tournament with this sweet green white hardened scales deck back when it was standard legal.
Yeah. So there was a Grand Prix. I believe it was somewhere in Texas. I believe it was Dallas. That where this deck like popped out of nowhere and kind of destroyed the event, but people realized that it had a bad rally matchup because this was like at the end of the rally days,
Hmm.
and so people like dropped the deck immediately after that event. But I took it to this Star City event, and I started off like 8-1 on day one, and then hit like the gauntlet of like all the best people that were there because this was when like Michael Majors was still playing. So I played against Michael Majors, Cedric Phillips, Todd Anderson, Owen Turtenwald,
Oh wow.
and Jeff Hoogland all in one event. So I ended up only getting 32nd place after starting 8-1.
Yeah, you really got the feel for the grinders at that point.
I did. I did.
Yeah, then we see a couple other standard results. You had a blue white spirits, two green black deliriums, which this is actually the deck that I knew about your Jund top or your Jund placing with at Pittsburgh that you were talking about. But this was when I really started seeing you like go on the map more. Was you went on a tear with green black delirium for a while. You were very proficient at this deck.
Yeah, I played the Delirium when Emrakul was still a thing. Turns out that Marvel was the way you're supposed to be actually playing the deck, but I was playing the Delirium when that we had figured out that that was one of the better decks. And then I continued to play like Green Black once Constrictor came out for like the energy builds.
Yeah, you got 21st in a classic with the green black constrictor deck.
Yeah.
And then the other deck that you had a lot of success with, even though it's not mentioned here, I remember both you and Tilk were going to a lot of GPs at this time, and both of you were like just narrowly missing out of making the PT, if I remember right.
Yeah,
Like,
I had a lot of results with all praise be to Hazaret. Yeah, I
it's
put up a lot of
this was a
results with
hell of a
Hazaret.
card. Yeah, this is where you and I can kind of like share our love of you like all three of us really put up a tear. I qualified for like 3 PPTQs in a row with this deck, or 3 RPTQs in a row with this. I remember you guys were having a race to see who could make the PT first.
Yep.
And this deck was really the backbone of a lot of success in the Michigan area in general. I feel like.
Yeah, this and it was basically just Scarab God versus Hazaret at the
Yeah.
time.
I definitely preferred my red decks at that time. So then nationals, you mentioned you lost a win in with playing red black aggro. I believe you said to Turtenwald, correct?
Yeah, I just got really good at this standard at this limited, so I was lost a top 8 at nationals to Owen. That one actually ended up on we were the backup camera match.
Mm-hmm.
Then they showed it in like a time. They showed it in like one of those the time shifted matches or whatever on camera. But he kind of just destroyed me.
Yeah, and you even flexed your limited skills a little bit here, where you 6-0'd the limited portion of this event, correct?
Yeah, I 5-1'd.
5-1, okay.
Yeah.
But then we get into where you started performing again at a really high power level was with Is It Phoenix. As I mentioned, that was when I first had you on the podcast was when this deck finally ceased to exist with the Faithless Looting ban. I know you were worried about if you would really find something in Modern that you liked as much. You had an event coming up pretty shortly after this banning.
You knew he would because Burn exists, man.
Well, he actually didn't plan on playing Burn.
I didn't. I was initially moved, but I still even had, or
Listen.
I ended up selling the Urza stuff. But and there's Urza was the deck I was initially moving to.
Bryan, you didn't know you were going to play Burn, but in your heart of hearts, you knew you were going to play Burn. Trust
Hey,
me.
turns out the deck is good.
I've been saying it for 5 years now. I'm just not good enough to qualify with it. That's all.
Now, do you plan on giving Phoenix a try when you do have to play Pioneer? Or do you think you're going to gravitate towards something like Cat Combo?
Um, I really can't say at the moment because again, I don't have anything to do with Pioneer
He don't
until
give a shit about Pioneer. He's got to grind
yeah,
that standard.
I am because I've got like 4 or 5 PTQs and coming up. They're all standard, and I don't have Pioneer until next year.
Makes sense.
So, and plus, I anticipate some other bannings on like either Marvel or Cat Combo or whatever they end up
Sure.
banning.
Yep.
So I haven't looked into the format at all, just because I have no idea what it's going to look like when I actually need to play it.
Yeah. And so, as Josh mentioned, the deck you did end up settling on post ban is just, your straight up red white burn that you've just been kind of crushing it with recently.
Yeah, I had a PTQ top 8 here locally and got top 4 even at the Open.
Yeah.
Bryan, I want to ask you about Skewer the Critics.
Yeah.
I fucking hate this card. For a lack of a better phrase or words, can you tell us how much you also hate this card?
I initially, after playing the deck, agreed with you. I've actually my opinion on it's actually changed a lot.
Of course, it is a very good card. It just is not. It's not what you want it to be, and that's why I hate this card. So tell us about Skewer.
So I think what people might not do enough with this deck is mulligan. Because I could say honestly at the event that probably upwards of like 80% of my games, because of semi-aggressively mulliganing, I had a turn 1 creature.
Okay.
Like
So-
almost all the time. So when you have the turn 1 creature, basically like all the time, because the London Mulligan allows you to do that,
Yes.
you just always have Skewer on.
Now-
and so I don't mind it so much then.
Bryan, I would like to direct you to one of our YouTube videos where I get flamed. There was a gentleman that had flamed me probably about a month ago and said, I watched your video on Burn and I do not understand why you mulligan so much. Please stop. He said, I've been playing Burn for a long time. Please stop mulliganing so much. We cannot mulligan that much because we are at a disadvantage already. And so my theory is you need to mulligan to have repeatable damage. And this is what I always talk about to people is if you don't have repeatable damage, you can't beat an infant with this deck, right? So you need Goblin Guide, you need Swift Spear, you need Eidolon, right? Or in Legacy, there's what we call payoff cards. And those payoff cards are Price of Progress and Fire Blast. Those do anywhere from 4 to 6 to even 8 damage sometimes, right? So with Burn Theory, people do not understand that you have to have repeatable damage in order to, do very well with this deck.
Yeah, I would say most 7-card hands, if it doesn't have a creature, I'm mulliganing.
Correct. And this is something that I talked to you previous weeks going into Indianapolis about Grim Lavamancer. I had said, I asked you to do one thing for me and one thing only, and that was to find a way to play Grim Lavamancer, correct?
I did. I found a way.
Good. And I thank you for that. I thank you very much for that. And like I said, I'm not good enough to top with this deck, but I'm glad to see that my little brainchild of Lavamancer was able to still make it.
Yeah, I obviously I actually made a Twitter post that's like a sideboard guide, and I had a few people asking me specifically, like after the event I had a few people specifically asking me about Grim Lavamancer, like how good were they for me in the event and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I actually find I have a bias towards this card anyway because I just really like the card.
Yes.
But it does a lot for the deck and giving you another source of repeatable damage and a way of picking off like random Snapcaster mages and everything that make it to where your Eidolons can't attack.
Mm-hmm.
And allows you to like trim on your Searing Blazes, but where you still want a removal spell for say Stoneforge or Snapcaster or something along those lines.
Correct. The Searing Bloods in the
yeah.
sideboard is what you mean, right?
Yeah, because it's Searing Blood instead of like I would do one or the other, where Searing Blood has more of an immediate effect and it's better against like your Noble Hierarch decks.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Lavamancer because it's good against those decks and also the grindy decks as having a repeatable source of damage, which I think that if you don't have those repeatable sources of damage, then even your best sevens aren't typically going to be good enough because you aren't able to you want to usually get about like 4 damage out of each of your creatures, and usually the math just kind of turns out to where like 4 is better than 3. Obviously it's a better number, but like typically the math checks out to where you might end up short a point or two if all you have are bolts.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So congrats, by the way, with doing so well with this deck. It makes me happy to see that Burns in such a good spot and that you did choose this deck because it's my favorite deck. But tell us what would you change in this list going forward, and have you made changes already?
I haven't made any changes yet. I don't know what changes I would necessarily make going forward. I like the main.
I don't see anything that you could change, to be honest.
The
Even
thing
meta-wise.
So with Oko being like main deck now with this Simic Urza deck, that's going to be a lot harder. I'm not sure exactly how the best way to go about fighting that is.
Well, yeah,
but the card I want the most in the sideboard is maybe 2 Searing Blood, but to go with the Grim Lavamancer, not to like replace. Because I think that attacking the creatures with like searing effects is the best way to go about fighting Amulet Titan.
Okay.
I actually think Searing Blood and Searing Blades are fantastic in those matchups.
Yes,
and
they are.
Taking down your Azuzas and your Tribe Scouts is the best. Like, I don't like Smash the Smithereens in that matchup because it's only for the Amulet, and
Correct.
like if they don't have it, it's literally just a dead card. But basically, your Searing Bloods and Searing Blazes are always on, and so I think that that's the better way to go about fighting the matchup. So I think more copies of those in the sideboard to fight Amulet.
Yeah, I see 2 spots. I'm not 100% sure that you could cut down on the skull cracks. I mean, that would not be my first choice, but I think you could probably shave a Smash to Smithereens, and depending on how much you actually like Firewalker and how much burn you think you're going to see, you maybe could go down to 2, but I think a lot of people would tell you just cut a skull crack and a Smash to Smithereens if you want 2 more copies of Searing Effects in the sideboard. But I don't know if I would cut a skull crack. That card's just fucking insane.
I think for the most part, Skullcrack was basically the only card I sideboarded in time. I wouldn't for.
Yeah, like it's one of my favorite burn cards ever made.
Yeah, if I'm really gonna try to cut a Skullcrack from the sideboard to make room, it's gonna be mostly like cutting a Helix from the main to put the Skullcrack into the main or something along those lines. But
Yeah.
I don't really want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that either. So I don't know. It's a weird one, but
Potentially trim a skewer from the main even.
yeah.
See, I don't agree with that. I think the mana important that the deck, if anything, gets gluttoned at 2 drops. So I would probably cut a Helix if I were to put a Skullcrack main.
Would you put any consideration to cutting a land? Because I know a lot of lists are on 19 lands instead of the Fiery as well.
I think that 20 lands is correct for consistency reasons, and now that we have the Canopy lands, I'm really happy with like the 20th land being the Fiery Islet.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing too that I like to tell people about is like you can't always turn Skewer on. So it's much like it's like a problematic thing that I have when I play Legacy Burn is that I need to be able to hard cast the uncounterable spell. What is it called?
Exquisite Fire.
Exquisite Firecraft.
Yes, I need 3 red to hard cast that thing. And there's going to be, matchups where you're just top decking, right? And you need to hard cast a Rift Bolt or you need to hard cast a Skewer. So you need to see those land drops because it's very important. Because for this deck to fire on all cylinders, you need to have most of the time that 4th land to be able to double spell with your Boros Charms and your Lightning Bolts.
The Skewer also, as we were talking about, where you always need to think every deck needs to be able to have a turn 3 kill in Modern.
Mm-hmm.
At least on its nut draws. Skewer really, really, really helps with the consistency of your turn 3 kills.
Correct. Yeah,
because it allows you to go the bolt, spike, skewer, or whatever.
Yes.
It adds 4 more of those.
Yeah, even though I hate it, it is correct. So I think I want to say that Skewer is probably a very well developed card. If I were to say something good about Wizards that they've done in a long time, is that they finally made a very good choice on how they built this card.
Yeah, I think this one and Wizard's Lightning. I think Wizard's Lightning
God, I
it
love me some
requires
Wizards
specific
Lightning.
deck. That one requires specific deck building.
Yes, so very cool stuff. There was one other thing that I wanted to ask you before we moved into finance here, Brian, but and that was just kind of give us a little rundown on. I know that when you were trying to make the pro tour, this was something that I actually remembered while we were talking here. That you were kind of getting a little burnt out, right?
Yes,
You
very
went
much
through
so.
a phase, and I think this is important for people to know, because like even when I was going hard back in the day, I always thought to myself like, man, I'm trying. I get up. When I was in college, I used to get up in the morning and I'd read the latest articles, and I'd be balls deep inside of a Reddit K-hole looking at all the burn lists that have topped as of late. And I felt like and sometimes I'd be playing 2 to 3 days a week, and I was just like, man, I don't know why I can't go to these SCGs and do well. And it's there was a culmination of things, right? There was a lot of things that I was doing wrong, and I've never been a great player at this game, but I've been okay. I'm an F&M All-Star. But what propels you from an F&M All-Star to an SCG competitor to making the Pro Tour, and how do you find yourself not giving up? I guess because I think that's something that a lot of people they either do in this game and in this hobby that we have, they find it too hard to propel themselves to the next level. And what made you not give up? So tell us all about that.
So in terms of not giving up, really a lot of it is the community. Like this is the thing that I consistently do on the weekends, rather than just always just go to work, come home, eat dinner, go to sleep, go to work the next day. I have homework, quote unquote. I have something I enjoy doing. I have something I always have something to work on and get better at, and then also have people to do it with. Like the Magic community is great for getting together for road trips and all of that. So that social aspect is what really has kept me going as far as never giving up. Competitively, what's kind of propelled me to always get there was just always having set my goal towards making that pro tour. I wanted to at least always do it once, and I finally got there. But then now that I did it the one time, I want to do it again.
You got the fire.
I did. I did. I did get very burned out for a while there, though. There was a year we were kind of talking about how like Planeswalker points kind of tell like how consistently and how much someone plays. Not that they mean a whole ton, but the more points you have, typically you play a ton. I, for one Planeswalker season, had the 23rd most in the world.
Yeah, that was
I think
2017. You
you
said,
said
right?
2017 to
17 to
2018.
2018, yeah.
Okay.
So I that was when I got the most burnt out because I just was going to 10-hour drives 3 times a month in order to make it to all these Grand Prix. And my results were actually kind of lower than they have been this past year when I've slowed down. I found that
Do you think
in
part of
order
it
to
could have
get
been the pressure you put on yourself at that time?
it could be definitely. Also, just I found that preparing better for each event has been better for me than just trying to go to all of them. So I would go from like a standard Grand Prix to a modern SEG Open to a limited Grand Prix, and so there'd be like 3 different formats, and I would moderately prepare for each of them, but not really have done the best I could for each one. So I found that by taking a step back and taking each event, I don't want to say more seriously, but preparing better for each event rather than going to every single possible event that I can physically get to
Yeah.
has been better for my results.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that in my work too. I've refined. I guess that kind of is a parallel to my work. I used to grind basically every GP, every SCG on the business side of things, and I don't feel like I've succeeded as much as when I took a step back and said, okay, I don't need to be at every one of these things. I just need to refine my craft better and do things like a little bit different and prepare myself better to grow my business. And so I feel like you're right about that. Like you can spin your wheels a little bit and think that, oh, I've got to be at every single one of these things. You don't. You don't have to. You just have to make sure that you're prepared and you're doing things correctly, and you can still do well at them.
Yeah, that's like my first pro tour where I finally made it was Mythic Championship 1 earlier this year in Cleveland. When I won my RPTQ, I hadn't gone to an event for 3 straight weeks and had only tested Modern to figure out which deck I wanted to play and what build of it and everything, and refined it over 3 weeks. And then that event was the one that I happened to spike it. And while that is just good variance for me, that I could have prepared for 3 weeks and still not made it, but I want to say that by doing that, I gave myself the best opportunity and the best percentage chance to make it, and it cashed in.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I've actually like recently came into a similar situation where I've been grinding the SCG circuit for about the past year, and I wasn't once I decided to like fully grind. I had a couple close like calls to making day twos, but I hadn't really had anything, and then I had a couple plans fall through for a couple events and didn't really get to go anywhere for about a month. But it really it made my attitude a lot better for when I was going to the events. I felt like I enjoyed them a lot more, and in turns I just ended up doing better because getting to go to the event felt more of like I was enjoying that I was going there more than I was like just trying to focus on doing the best I could and being less results oriented and more about the experience and just the actual like playing of Magic.
Yeah, that's something we talked about the last couple weeks. Is just, for some of those people out there, Brian, I know like you're probably a little bit more focused on the results as of right now because you are doing well and you've kind of I think you've kind of cracked that that ability to be like, okay, I can go to a tournament and I'm 100% gonna day two this thing most of the time, right? Let's just say 80%. You feel like, right?
Yeah, if I don't day 2, I did poorly.
Yeah, and so there's not not everybody's like that. For all of our listeners, watchers, not everybody can be like, oh well, I'm most likely gonna go and day two this thing. A lot of people, probably 70% of people don't feel like that. But like this past event that you took fourth at, I took 23rd and Richie took 71st.
I took 71st, yeah.
Yeah, so it was one of those things where I went into the weekend and Richie and I talked about it, and I talked about this last week when we talked about the event. I was going to play Burn right up until like 2 days beforehand. I'd been testing online, I'd been testing my list, and then I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to take this deck that I haven't played in like 2 months, and I'm going to have fun because I don't need to go in having pressure behind me and worry about it. And I ended up doing well. And so that's another thing that a lot of people don't take into these events is having fun. If you're not one of those people like yourself, where you're like, well, I'm going to day two basically every event I go to, is go and have fun, right? Because you yourself still have fun when you go to these events, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I find that the decks I enjoy more and have more fun with are the ones I tend to do better with.
Exactly. So,
in fact,
yeah, and that's another thing about Magic is because that puts you on another playing field also, right? If you feel like, this does matter to me, but I'm going to have some fun and I want to beat my opponents in style and I want to do it the way I want to do it, that propels you to another level to where you can just say, hey, I went and had fun and I did great. And that's what a lot of people that are grinding, they don't take into consideration all the time. And so I think that's something that people should take into consideration too.
Yeah, because roughly in theory, about half of your events should not go the best, right? Because it's and so like if you're able to enjoy the times where you didn't do so well, is what makes the grind a lot easier.
Correct.
Yeah, I was actually I talked about it with Gavin actually this past weekend, and I kind of agree with it. about 40% of your matches you're probably going to win. Another 40 you're going to lose due to either like, bad matchups, bad variants, whatever, things that you can't control. And then there's about 20% that you can actually control, and the results will actually be in your hands.
Yep. All right, Brian. So I appreciate you talking to us about that. And now we are going to get into finance. You like some finance or what?
I just,
I don't know.
I
He's
just
like
buy
me.
cards when I need them.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's not a huge thing for you because you can't be like, oh well, I'm gonna spec on this card. It's just cool when your cards go up in value, and it's uncool when they go down in value, right?
Yeah. It really for me is mostly just like I said, but mostly just only buy the cards I need because usually the rest of my investment into Magic is the trap.
Yeah.
Is getting physically to the event.
Yeah. All right. So this week, guys, every week we go over basically MTG stocks. We go on their website and we let you guys know, hey, what's going on. This week is going to be basically Pioneer spikes, right? Because Pioneer was announced and then everything went crazy. All these buyouts happened. We were definitely a part of that. We had all of our fast lands were gone. We had probably, I don't know, upwards of 100 of some of them.
Our top sellers are Treasure Cruise and Wild Slash.
Yes, our top sellers. I guess we can click on it here. It'll scroll through. But Wild Slash, Treasure Cruise, Prison Realm, Persistent Petitioners. I don't know what that's about, but we're seeing a lot of Pioneer cards.
Attune with Aether.
Attune with Aether. Hey, Growth Spiral. So we're seeing a lot of cards shoot off the shelves here, off of our site, just because of Pioneer. So this week, if you guys were holding on to your Kaladesh cards, well, then you're in luck, right? Aetherworks Marvel is up almost 500%. It's at $8. I'm not sure. It's looking like this card is probably going to stay up until they figure out what's going on. I don't see it. I don't see it going down yet. But another good thing is another great thing, not a good thing, if you don't give a shit about Pioneer, and you're like, oh my God, I kept all these cards because I was just too lazy to move them, or they were worth dog shit by the time I tried. And look at me now. I'm getting paper. Look at me now. So go ahead and ship your Aetherworks Marvels. It's a good spot to do it. A lot of the other cards that you're going to want to ship are your Siege Rhinos, oh God, what is the other card? What's the combo card, you guys, that you can untap stuff with? The 3-drop enchantment.
Jeskai Ascendancy.
Jeskai Ascendancy?
Yes, Jeskai Ascendancy is really great to move right now. The old Siege Rhino went from 50 cents to back up to $4. And also another really cool thing is you're seeing these pretty big spikes on other cards, like Deathrite Shaman's back up to $10. Thoughtseizes are at $24. I was moving these happily at $13. So that's almost doubled in price. Lily of the Last Hope, man, this card is just absolutely moving too. It's at $48.93, which is insane. That was like peak value for this thing, if not more.
I think it was like $60 at max.
Yes,
but
Abrupt Decays are no longer. I was paying like $1.50s on this and feeling like a true champion, paying people $1.50s on these things. They are now $8, so I will be paying $4 to $5 on these things now. So, Collector Brutality at $14.49. I didn't know that was up. I felt like Collector Brutalities were around $16.
Yeah, I thought they were too.
So this we don't always get the data right, but that's look out for these cards specifically. Another thing too, our good buddy Lance Nines, the largest collector of Smuggler's Copter probably in history.
Yeah, he said he had like over 1,000, right?
Yes, I could go back through the Facebook archives about 3 years ago when I met him and said, hey buddy, you're a weirdo. I like you. You're Smuggler Copter guy for the rest of my life. Will you post all of your copies of Smuggler's Copter on the group? And he's like, hell yeah, man. And so that's how we kind of became buddies.
It's hilarious.
And now
'cause,
he's an
like,
SCG grinder, and he's really good at
I
bagging.
loaned him a modern deck and didn't even know that you knew him.
Yeah. So, but yeah, sorry, Lance. Rest in peace, Smuggler's Copter. He posted the picture, about a week ago, showing
He got rid of him at a Magic Fest for like
$5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a literal fucking stack of them. So I
Yeah.
think he took bulk price on these things. And so they're up to $7. So sorry, Lance. And Dig Through Time's another one. Treasure Cruises, pull those out. Those aren't quarters anymore. So
These cards are great.
yes, all these cards are great in this format, and Mom's Basement Games is very happy.
Marvel's on the fence.
And
We'll
so
see if
is
that one's good.
everybody else that is that kept this stuff. So, so some cheap pickups this week is going to
Corn.
be Corn Scion of Urza. I think this card should be probably $15, not $9.
Yeah, I think this is low, but I also kind of don't know where this card's gonna see a bunch of play at.
Yep.
He's kind of been replaced by Experimental Frenzy or what's the colorless Experimental Frenzy? Mystic Forge.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't like to see this. I never like to see a dinosaur on the all-time lows because I have a soft spot in my heart for dinosaurs. But Carnage Tyrant this week is at $6.71. So kind of bummed out about that. But hold fast on those Carnage Tyrants because if it ever sees a standard reprint, that card should be probably in $15 like it was.
Yeah, even if it hits off in Pioneer once the format gets figured out.
Once the format's not all combo or turn 3. Yeah.
Man, it's a bad week for Karn.
Yeah, so Karn the Great Creator is down to $9. And foils are $20. I just traded away a foil last week, and it was $20, and it felt really bad. I felt like I wanted to.
Only 20.
I felt like I wanted to take it. I wanted to take that card back from that person and be like, I'm gonna put this in my closet for a few years. You don't get this Karn. The foils. I mean, this card's just absolutely. I think wouldn't say it revolutionized Modern for some decks, but it's really done. It's done a number for Tron. It's
even in Legacy.
that was my
mono
next,
red prison
That
decks.
was my next sentence. Was in Legacy. It's just absolutely phenomenal. It gives decks that didn't have a combo, right? And so that's something.
And a combo at a pretty cheap cost because you don't have to play shitty cards in your main deck.
Correct, and it's colorless, so you can use those Ancient Tombs and you can use those City of Traders to your advantage to whip out a very fast Mycosynth Lattice, like a turn 3. So I think Karn's done a lot for the game, and I think he's gonna continue.
I'd say buy.
Yes, this is 100% buy. I don't believe Karn can go any lower than $9. He's at $8.98 allegedly right now, and so I think he's a bottom of the barrel. He's a $15 to $20 card in the future.
I would agree.
You know it's going to retain its value when it doesn't standard plane that's already at $9. It's only going to go up.
Yes, absolutely.
This is a sad one for Brian.
Yes, Brian, we're sorry.
I love this card.
Yes, Finale of Promise is at a record low at $5. It was a mythic that was I wouldn't say it was very hyped, but I did build a Legacy Finale of Promise deck because there was so much hype behind it. People are like, Josh, are you gonna play this in Legacy Burn? I'm like, fuck no, it seems really bad, but I'll play it for you guys. I'll get dumpstered on stream for you.
It was great in Phoenix.
Oh yeah, but you just can't. You just don't want to be casting this. You want to be casting Exquisite Firecraft on 3. At 3 mana. And you don't really care about 4 mana, so you're just like, this card kind of sucks in Legacy Burn. But in Phoenix, it was just absolutely, it was game-ending.
Yeah.
Because
it on its own would get you back your Phoenixes.
Yeah, you literally lost the game.
Particularly once Arya Flame became a card.
Yeah, how did you feel when you casted this card? Were you just giggling inside, Brian?
The first time I cast Finale of Promise was actually when I was casting it with an active Pyromancer Ascension, so I got double. It felt nutty. I think I cast 16 spells that turn.
Yeah, so, I mean...
Should have just played a grape shot.
I had a Saheeli on the field. I had 6...
That's really funny.
I made them all that turn.
Yep. Oh, look, the wife says hi. Hi, Julie. Hey, baby girl. Yeah, so those are our that's our finance for this week. And I would also like to direct you guys to the old Twitter. If you guys aren't on Twitter, get yourself a goddamn Twitter. You hear me? If you are on Twitter, find us at Mom's Basement MTG. We will be sending out, we will be spamming you only about twice a week right now, I think. Maybe a little bit. All right, I'll lie. Like more than that. I lied. It's like probably 5 times a week because each time we go online, each time we go on Twitch, we send out a message that says, hey, we're streaming on Twitch. Come check us out. Or when I have, Alpha Tropical Islands, I like to let you guys know that I have those things.
Because so many people are looking for Alpha Tropical Islands.
Well, they will be this weekend. Fuck you. I'm going to Eternal. There's going to be some ballers. There's going to be millions of dollars.
I want to know. I want to know how you do moving this stuff, or if you have to just like take cash on it.
You'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll talk all about it next week on the podcast. Also, we've got Aaron here. We let you guys know, like, hey, Aaron's going to be streaming Pioneer. So we're on a big kick to build you that Pioneer content that you guys need. Also, you can follow Richard. He's at Richard T MTG. So follow him. He has more followers than the Mom's Basement Games account right now, but I am
probably
catching
because
up.
I don't spam a lot.
I'm catching up. I'm at 332, and Richie is at 384. So fuck you, Richie. I'm coming after you. Bryan, well, fuck you. We're both beating you. Bryan's got 150 followers, so do yourself a favor and please follow him.
To be fair, Bryan's not very active on Twitter, though.
No.
I'm not.
Yeah. But, now that he's doing so fucking good, he's going to have to be active on Twitter.
I definitely always post whenever I'm at an event. I try to keep track so people can, like, keep up with how I'm doing round by round.
Good.
I just can't get over this baby meme.
Yeah, so...
Oh, that was my reaction gift to Tyler making his first Pro Tour.
Yes.
Makes sense.
And you can find Bryan on Twitter at CareyDS92. And what does the DS stand for, Bryan?
My old gamer tag from like the Halo 2 days. It was Dark Soul.
Okay,
Yeah,
Dark Soul.
Super edgy. It was super edgy, man.
I was thinking something different. Okay, good. So find Bryan at CareyDS92. So let's see. What else do we need to let him know about you? Oh, Bryan, you are sponsored by
RW.
There you go. You got to hashtag it every time, right?
I have them added on my Twitch.
Hell yeah!
When
I had the Tugster
Twitter.
working with us, man, I had to fire on that guy. I was like, hey, can you just at Mom's Basement once in a while, buddy? I mean, we pay you monies. How's he doing, by the way? Have you talked to him lately?
I've talked to him a bit. He has been mostly looking for a new job. He finished up like software programming school. He's getting a new job, I believe, very soon. I think he was either in the interview process or about to accept the offer.
Nice.
So he should be coming back to Magic very soon.
Cool. All right. Well, Bryan, we appreciate you coming on today. And,
it's always great to have you on, Bryan.
This was only an hour and 46-minute podcast, so our listeners might make it through about 30 minutes of it. So, let's hope they scrub to the part where you talk passionately about being awesome at Magic.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. All right.
All right.
You guys, thanks for stopping by, and we will be on next Monday at 5:30. So
I'll be on Thursday playing some Pioneer and Friday because some little bitch has to be at Eternal Weekend.
And by this little bitch, you mean this large bitch. I will be I'll be slinging cards this weekend, so I'll try to keep you guys in the loop about how I took down Eternal Weekend this weekend with Burn. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, bye.
Thanks.